Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Namaste, friends. A warm welcome from Team Param Vedanta to session 7 of our Mananam series. In earlier sessions of chapter 1, Valli 2, we learnt about discussed about Shreyas, the knowledge path, and Preyas, the path of action, and how the wise one chose the Shreyas over Preyas in the path to self-knowledge. We also learnt that Atma, the subtlest truth, cannot be known through logic, but only through a realized guru or teacher. Later on, Yama introduced Omkara or Om as the sacred symbol of Brahman, showing that Omkara Upasana, that is meditation on Om, can lead a seeker either to Jivan Mukti, that is liberation while living, or Krama Mukti, gradual liberation upon reaching Brahmaloka. We also learned that Atma, the self, is eternal, unborn, indestructible, and untouched by karma. It is the silent witness of all experiences. However, realizing this truth requires a quiet, desire free mind leading to ultimate freedom. In today's session, Dr. Hegde sir will guide us through verses 19 to 22, continuing the profound teachings of Atma Vidya, the highest knowledge of the self. Following this, we will have a teaching quiz led by Dr. Anupama ma'am that will enable us to understand and clarify our doubts. So now I invite Dr. Timappa Hegde sir to lead us into today's session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mamta, for a nice introduction. Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om. Om Namo Bhagavate Vaivasvataya Mrityave Brahma Vidyacharya Nachiketa Secha. We are continuing our Mananam series, and let us be clear what is Mananam. Mananam means a method of being able to study the Upanishadic mantras in such a way that the meaning of that mantra becomes a firm conviction. It becomes, we are so convinced about the message, it becomes a part of our life. In today's class, or from now onwards, I'm deliberately going a little slow on these particular mantras. Slow in the sense we are covering fewer mantras per class, because in the second Valli of the first chapter, there are some of the best mantras available in Kathopanishad. And these mantras have the ability to resonate in your mind. Now, if you allow, these mantras can resonate and they can internally bring about certain changes by changing the false self and revealing the true self. The Diamond Sutra is a famous Buddhist literature delivered by Gautam Buddha, and the student is Subhuti. One of the important aspects when you study the Diamond Sutra, you will get to know the essence of the message of Buddha is what we call in our Vedantic language as Samanya Jnanam. You're listening to me. My words are interrupting your background awareness. Each time you are aware of my words, I want you to be aware also of the gap between my words. And in the gap between my words, you come in touch with what is called an objectless awareness. And at every time we have two forms of awareness. One is called a samanya jnanam. Samanya jnanam is the diffuse light which is available everywhere. But when the light reflects from different objects and therefore your attention falls on them, that becomes vishesha jnana. In Buddha's talks, he talks about anatta. Anatta means no self or no ego. Why I chose to speak a little about the Diamond Sutra is there is a story about a certain person who was not much educated. He traveled to the market, and as he was going through the marketplace from one of the houses close to the market, he could hear somebody chanting the Diamond Sutra. Those words of the Diamond Sutra struck him so strong that he just paused. He remained there, not for minutes or hours, late into the night. It is said that just by listening to the chanting of the Diamond Sutra, it led to a profound and immediate enlightenment. And that is the story of a great Zen master whose name is Hu Ning of the Zen tradition. Now, this sutra is called Vajra Chetika Prajna Paramita Sutra. Paramita is wisdom. When you go beyond wisdom, the wisdom has the ability to strike you like a thunderbolt. So the Buddha's words or these Upanishadic words can kill something of the unessential and reveal the essential. So that is why our whole objective now is to study these mantras in a way that they will resonate in our heart. For example, in the last class, we studied these mantras, which are an answer to Nachiketa's question. Nachiketa wanted to know what is that which survives. Yeyam prete vichikitsa manushya. I have that basic doubt. What is that which survives after death? And a little later on in the 14th mantra, he clarified, Anyatra dharma, anyatra adharma. I don't want anything about moral science, dharma and adharma. I don't want anything about cause and effect. I don't want anything about time. From your experience, what is that? And he answers, Sarve Veda Yat Padam Amananti. What is that which all the Vedas, including the Veda Purva and the Veda Anta, for which people do so much of tapas, and for which people take a life of brahmacharyam. Brahmacharyam is taking a life into spiritual study. It is like a person taking into a PhD course. So all his day and night is for study. And he says, what is that which people spend so much time? Tatte, tatte padam sangrahena bravimi. I will briefly tell you what that is, and that is Om or Omkara. In a way, he has answered everything by this one word. But then we don't understand, so therefore we have to go through all these mantras. Another mantra for resonance which came in the last class is this mantra, Na jayate briyate va vipaschit. Vipaschit is the same as that samanya jnanam, that objectless awareness, that which is there all the time, which consciousness, which we think is a function of my brain, Vedanta says that consciousness is the real me. That is na jayate. It is neither born nor it is dies. It does not come from something. It does not become anything. It is ajaha, nityaha, sashvataha. That means it is always there. And when the body dies, na hanyate hanyamane sharire. Now, this is the message. Now, these are mantras for us to meditate on, so that when you meditate on this verse, something of this mantra is going to strike you like a thunderbolt. Ultimately, what is our objective? Atma Jnana. Whenever we go to any school to learn, our tendency is what is called objectification. I want to know about Brahman. And we begin to think that whenever the teacher talks about Brahman, it is about some object. Now, Vedantic teachers are very careful about that, not to make an objectification. Brahman is not any object outside you. It says that what you are seeking is the real you. It is not a new substance, but it is a new status you discover about yourself. And whenever you say Aham Brahmasmi, you discover that whenever you say I am, which you know, I don't need any sense organs or mind to say I am, but I always feel I am limited. But Vedanta tells you I am limitless. Very similar to when Karna was told by his mother that he is her son. Now, this was a new revelation, a new status for himself. And that is the way we have to avoid the problem of objectification. Now, the next problem for all students of Brahma Jnanam is, where is this Brahman? I want to find it. Now, the teacher says it is everywhere because it is something limitless. If it is limitless, it should be everywhere. If it is everywhere, it should be in me also. Where in me can I discover? They use the word in the cave of my heart. Cave indicates darkness or difficult to go through that. So within my mind, I'm aware now of the words and I'm aware of the silence. What is that which makes me aware of both the sound and the silence? That sound, that awareness, that objectless awareness is Atma or Brahman. Once I have discovered that consciousness because of which I'm able to understand, that consciousness which makes me say I am, now make a distinction between my body, mind, and say, that is my higher nature. That is the Mahavakya. I am Atma Brahma. This very intimate I-ness, this intimate amness is not limited to me, but it is all pervading. Now, what is unique about Atma Vidya? Whenever we study something, we know there are three forms of knowledge. For example, I would like to know about Kailash Manasarovar. I go to the internet, I go to YouTube, I see a lot of pictures. And when I get a knowledge which is indirect without directly seeing it with my sense organs, that is called Paroksha Jnanam. One day, if I have an opportunity to see it directly with my sense organs, then that knowledge that I get about this particular object is called Pratyaksha Jnanam. Now, is Brahma Vidya Paroksha or is it Pratyaksha? So the answer is, see, anything outside me can be Paroksha or Pratyaksha. If somebody is helping me to discover a new status about myself, what do you call that? It is neither Paroksha nor Pratyaksha. It is Aparoksha. And what is this Aparoksha? It is this knowledge about this I am, this direct knowledge about myself. You use the term non-mediate. Non-mediate means there is no intermediate. There is no sense organs or mind. For example, I will ask you, I'm not asking you the meaning of paroksha or aparoksha. I'm asking you, are you there? Now, to answer this question, do you have to look around? Do you have to feel, touch, see, think about it? So that knowledge that which does not require the mind or the sense organs, which comes non-mediate, which comes directly, that is called aparoksha. It is the immediate recognition of I am, but now the teacher tells you this I am is not something limited, but I am limitless. I am Brahman, that limitless conscious existence, and it is not any mystical experience that comes and goes. To help us to remember this, there is this Upanishadic mantra from Kenopanishad, Pratibodha Viditam Matam. In every experience, I come in touch with the experiencer. That experiencer often always is Vishesha Jnanam. But I should move from that Vishesha Jnanam to that awareness that is always there, which is called the Samanya Jnanam. In the Mundakopanishad, there is a nice mantra which says, Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati. The knower of Brahman discovers that he is not the knower of Brahman, he is Brahman himself. And this understanding is what we call Samanya Jnanam or Samanya Chaitanyam or Samanya consciousness. All of these mean the same thing. All right. Now, we have by now Aparokshata Jnanam of Brahman. Now, I'm going to ask you some questions. Now, one of the styles of teaching in Param Vedanta is that most of us students here have an opportunity to teach. Now, let us picture a little boy like Nachiketa who really wants and very keen to know about Brahman. He wants to come and tell you, what is this Brahman? I want to know. Now, you are the teacher. How are you going to teach that little boy? And then you question him, is it just curiosity? You know, he is very committed and he's intelligent, he's smart, he's able to answer all your questions. And now you have to explain to him what is Brahman. Don't say that you're too small. It is a question of how do I address it to a common person, a person who's able to understand. Remember, Brahman is not any object. For any object, for when you have to teach about that object, it is easy to teach. We also know Brahman is nirguna, that means it does not have any qualities. There is no way I can describe it. So therefore, Brahman is beyond words, beyond concepts. And yet, all teachers, now all of you are teachers, though all of you who are listening to me right now, I want you to see how will you teach this little boy about Brahman. And then I will give you a clue, because now there is no chance for you to answer these questions. You can put Brahman in 3 ways. One method is called Swarupa Jnanam. Swarupa Jnanam is trying to indicate the real nature. And what is that? Brahman is of the nature of consciousness. Brahman is the nature of existence. What form of consciousness and existence? Limitless consciousness and existence. So how do you say that? We will call it the Swarupa Jnanam is of the nature of limitless Sat. That means it is existent and it is conscious. Whenever you say I am, I means consciousness, am means existence. So I am, that is my Swarupa. But am I ordinary? So Brahma Vidya says, I am limitless. That is the meaning of the word Ananda or Ananta. That is one method of teaching. Now, how much the boy will understand, it is up to you to elaborate and tell you, this is the nature of Brahman. One is called Swarupa Jnanam. Then, if the child is not able to understand, then you go to what is called Tatastha Lakshana. Tatastha Lakshana means in relation to something else. Now, for all of us, we see the world and we say, now, who created the world? Who sustains the world? Into whom the world resolves? That is Brahman. So you're using an indirect definition. So the world is there, I'm able to appreciate, and all of us know that if there is an effect in front of me, there must be a cause. What is that cause? And that cause, which is the Adhara, which is the support of this world, which brings this world into existence, which supports the world, and to whom the world goes off. Now that is Brahman, and that is an indirect definition. Indirect definitions are not so good as Swarupa Lakshanam, but for many people you're able to understand. There is a third style of being able to teach. Now, I'm assuming that we are all Brahmajnanis. I know about Brahman. I have aparokshata jnanam about Brahman. And somebody tells you, is Brahman like this? Then you'll say, oh, no, no, not like this, not like this, not like this. Why? Because now you know what is Brahman. This method is called apavada. So is Brahman my body? You say, no. Mano, buddhi, ahankara, chitta, naha. So we have 3 styles to teach somebody. So when somebody wants to get Brahma Vidya, we have 3 styles. One is called Swarupa. its intrinsic nature of consciousness, existence, not ordinary consciousness and existence, limitless conscious existence. Second is in relation to the world. In relation to the world, it is the cause of the world, it supports the world, it world resolves. Secondly, see, I am conscious. Now, that because of which I am the witness, I am the sakshi. So this is in relation to some objects, I am the sakshi. So when you bring in an object and I become the witness, that is the tatastha lakshana. And the third method is called by apavada, neti neti. Mano buddhi ahankara, nantat pragnyam na bashish pragnyam. So Upanishads constantly use only these three methods. So, little more elaboration on these three methods. You can describe Brahman as it is without any reference to anything else. Very difficult for somebody to understand, but Brahman is the nature of existence, consciousness, and limitless. It has no attributes. There is no second thing that is called Advaya. It cannot be divided Akhanda. It is Akarta, abhokta, asanga, nirvikara. So these are all what is called the Swarupa Lakshanam of Brahman. Then we have what is called the Tatastha Lakshanam. In relation to the world, we say it is the Sthiti, it is the cause, and it is the sustainer of the world, and the world resolves into it. The Adhisthana. It is also the witness of this changing world. It is like calling, if I want to introduce someone, he says, oh, that someone, he is Rama's father. You have not spoken anything about him, but you have given in relation to somebody, you know this man here, but you know Rama, he is Rama's father. So you have an indirect or tatastha lakshana. Then, of course, we have the very popular method of neti neti. In all our songs, we have Tadeko Vashishta Shiva Kevaloha. Now, in ourselves, we keep removing, I'm not my body, I'm not my mind. It's like peeling off the onion. You remove, negate until you come across the negator. You have negated everything, but still somebody is there. Who is that which sustains or survives all that negation? That is the real me. So these are the three methods. And you will see how the scriptures define Brahman or Atma. And this is a question for you. So whenever I give this definition, Atma Kaha, you should tell me, is it Swarupa Lakshanam? It is Tatastha Lakshanam? Or is it through the Neti Neti Apavada method? Now, see this definition. Stula Sukshma Karana Sharirad Vyatirikta. It is other than. That means it is through negation. Pancha Kosha Atita. It is none of the five koshas. Again, through negation. Sun. Avastha Traya Sakshi. So it is the witness of the three states. So now it is Tatastha Lakshana. It is Sat Chit Ananda Swarupa. It is now Swarupa. See that? So how do we define Atma or self, which is other than the gross body, subtle body, causal body? So Neti Neti method, Apavada. It is not the five sheaths, Apavada. It is the witness of the three states, Tatastha. It is of the nature of existence, consciousness, bliss, Swarupa. All right, now we come back to this mantra for resonance. As I said, we have studied this mantra 100 times. Na jayate mriyate. Now, with what instrument do I use to study this mantra? Now, for all of us, we need an instrument. Now, there is one instrument all of us have, and that instrument is the camera. But how? The camera should now become a selfie. Now, when you see yourself in your own selfie picture, now ask yourself, am I this body? Am I the mind? Am I somebody else? And through this process, so although this mantra looks outside you, you can see your own image there, but you start the process of negating until you come to the negator. And these are the techniques that we have to do to be able to study these Veda mantras. Now, with this background, we will come to today's class. Why did I give such an elaborate introduction? Almost 20 minutes I have spent in introducing, because these mantras 19, 20, 21, and 22 should be your mantras for life. All I can do is to explain. But once I explain this mantra, see that have I got the word for word meaning, and how does this mantra apply to me in my everyday life? And where else have I studied this mantra? Anta che manyate hantum, hatamsche manyate hatam, ubayo to na vijanita, nayam hanti na hanyate. You heard this before somewhere else. Essentially, this mantra says, this Atma, this true nature of mine, does not do anything and cannot be acted upon. It is neither a karta nor is it a bhokta. Why do I feel I am a karta and I bhokta? I disidentify with my true nature. I identify with my body, mind, and I suffer samsara. Now, what is this mantra I try to say? Karta and bhokta can be like guilt and hurt. Most of our pain in life is in the form of hurt and guilt. The role of a bhokta produces hurt. The role of a karta, why I did this, produces guilt. One who has understood Brahma Jnanam, he is able to transcend guilt and pain through knowledge. As body, one will continue to be karta and bhokta. What we need to do is be able to disidentify from the body-mind complex, which has its own prarabdha, which has its own role play, and through certain circumstances, certain things have to be done. You will see the same mantra comes, ya enam veti hantaram, yaschainam manyate hatam. The next line is common, the same thing. Ubayoto na vijanitam, nanito nayam hanti na hanyate. This is the Bhagavad Gita, second chapter, mantra 19. Now watch yourself washing your hand. All right. Whenever you wash your hand, do so slowly for the next time and ask yourself this question. When you say you're washing your hands, are you washing your hands or your hands are washing each other? And continue this exercise into all your activities every day. Am I doing all these actions, or is my body mind interacting with various sense organs and sense objects? And am I the witness of all that is happening in my life? The more I step back into being a witness of all my activities, I suddenly go into the domain of Akarta and abhokta. Shri Krishna in the second chapter has said, what is real skill in action? Yogaha karmasu kaushalam. Kaushalam means skill. What is the real skill in action? Buddhi yukto jahatiha ube sukrute dushkrute. Tasmad yogaya yujjasya yogaha karmasu kaushalam. The real skill in all my activities is I feel I am doing, but then I have a role to play, and my body and mind is trying to explain these Upanishadic mantra, and I'm just watching how this whole process is going on. And in doing so, if you really are so remote from yourself, then there is no sukrute na dushkrute. You don't take any ownership for any of your actions. There is no karma phala. There is no karta. There is no bhokta. There is no sin. There is no merit in such an actions. That is this beautiful 19th mantra. I hope we have got that. My real nature is akarta, abhokta. Now, each of these mantra 20, 21, 22 are more and more refined. More refined in the sense very difficult to understand. Anor aniyan mahato mahiyan atmasya janto nihito kuhayam. Tam akrutuhu pashyati vita shokaha dhatu prasadat mahiman atmanah. This is the mantra. Now, before I explain this mantra, let me go to Bhagavad Gita 15th chapter, 11th mantra. Yatanto yoginaschainam pashyanti atmanam avasthitam yatanto api akrita atmanam nainam pashyanti achetasaha. Now, in the 15th chapter, Swamiji, while explaining this mantra, he gave an example of a little boy. When there is no electricity in your house, the mother tells the little boy, go to the neighboring apartment and find out, do they have electricity? So the boy very dutifully goes, rings the doorbell, the door opens, then he sees the TV is going on, the fan is going on, the lights are there, and very dutifully asks them, is there electricity in your house? Now, little boy, he can do, but if an older person does that, what happens? This mantra says, Yatanto yoginaschaiva. There are people, the yogis, they make effort and they're able to discover him within myself. However, those whose minds are not so refined are not able to see him even though he is in and around, he is within you. So what do we need to do? Let us make ourselves more refined to be able to understand this very subtle mantra. Aniyan, anor aniyan. That means very subtle, smaller than the smallest. Here it talks like the atom. Can you think of something smaller than the atom? Mahiyan Mahat, bigger than the biggest galaxies. Now you're describing Atma. Now you're describing Atma to somebody who's saying that one thing is smaller than the smallest and the same thing is bigger than the biggest. So the moment you get something, immediately it knocks your mind off. That is why they say these mantras are yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasasaha. These are some things which the mind and the speech cannot describe. And if you're trying to describe something, it is about an object. So you think of Atma as something small or something big. Now you get totally confused that it is neither small nor big, but it is something that is everywhere. And where do I find it? Nihitam, it is located, guhayam, in the cave of my heart. In whose heart? Asya jantoho, in the heart of everybody. So in all of us, this Atma is located. It is in my heart in the form of the witness of my thoughts and in the form of the silence that appreciates when there is no noise, when there is nothing happening. So this Atma can be recognized by who? Akrutuhu, the one who has no desires. The mind is not restless. Such a person, pashyati, he is able to see what? Tam mahimanam, that glory of this limitless Atma. Thanks to what? Dhatu prasadat. The word dhatu literally means that dharana, that which supports. What supports? Atma supports, God supports, the Guru supports, the Shastras support. But Adi Shankara here talks about dhatu as the sense organs. Prasadat means when the sense organs are become very quiet. And such a person is able to discover the Atma Tattvam, that na jayate mriyate va entity. And once you discover I am limitless, such a person is free from all sorrows. You got this mantra? 100 times I have to say the same thing. What is this mantra teaching? Another very important shloka that describes Atma Lakshana. Now, when you say it is neither small nor big, it means it is everything. It is everywhere. In the 7th chapter of the Gita, mantra number 7, my sarvam idam protam sutre manigana eva. Where is Sri Krishna? Sri Krishna is all pervasive in the form of existence in all things big and small. I think this is a Kabir Doha which Swamiji quotes, which says, Leher dunde leher ko, kapda dunde sooth, Jiva dunde Brahma ko, tino ut ke ut. Now, ut ke ut means he's the fool of all fools. And Kabir is trying to tell that if you are searching for Brahman, You are the biggest fool. Why? It is like leher dunde leher ko. It is the wave searching for water. Kapada dunde sooth. It is the cloth searching for the thread. Jiva dunde brahma ko. If I'm looking for myself, my essential nature, tino ut ke ut. Where to discover the Atma? In our own mind. I am conscious, I am existent. I'm able to experience everything. When there is silence, I'm able to experience that silence also. That Atma I am. Claim and exclaim and remain there. That is what it is saying. Now, in order to, so there is what is called, there is sadhanas that we need to do. What is required? My mind should be, mind should not be, mind should be restful. And if there is any desire in my mind, see, whenever your mind is restless, always find out there must be some desire, something that I want which has not been fulfilled. A person who has vairagyam, who wants nothing in this world, will have a very peaceful mind. Such a person is called an akratuhu. Krata is a person who does various yagas for a particular purpose. But a person who's akratuhu, who has no desires in his mind, now he's able to see the glory of his Atma because of the silence in his mind. And such a person is free from all sorrow and grief. The same mantra is there in other Upanishad like Mahanarayana Upanishad. Do we need any further elaboration? Remember, Adi Shankara had the ability to connect the previous mantra to the present mantra. The previous mantra, mantra 19, spoke about Atma being Akarta and abhokta. If I see myself as Karta and Bhokta, that is something wrong. What is the right vision? To see myself as Atma. Not only myself as Atma, to be able to see everything as Atma. This is called Sarvatma Bhava. You should have the vision of Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam. This is called existence as Brahman. There is no sense of otherness. When there is no sense of otherness, there is no Karta and Bhokta. So where is this Atma? Everywhere, but I can recognize it in myself as Sat Chit, because Sat Eva Chit. And this is possible if I have no desires, if there is vairagya. I should be an akrituhu. Such a person is able to discover one's own glory, and such a person is free from all sorrow. This is a repetition again from Bhashyam. So why do we go through all these classes through Shravanam, Mananam to be able to discover I am that? I have repeated what is meant by Dhatu, Prasadat. Dhatu means a supporter. God, Guru, Shastra. So because of the blessing of the Dhatu, I'm able to discover myself, or the blessing of my own sense organs. That means when my sense organs are quiet, I'm able to discover Isha Vasyamidam Sarvam, and to be able to discover I am Atma Brahma. Now I'm going through the same word once again. Anor Aniyan Mahato Mahiyan. That means in and through all objects, big and small. Atmasya Jantoho Nihitam Guhaya. It is located in the cave of the heart. Who's able to discover it? Who's able to pashyati? Tam akratuhu, one who has no desires because of vairagya. Such a person is vita shokaha, free from all sorrows. Ultimately, why are we doing all this? We want to be free from sorrow. Then one more sadhana, dhatu prasadat. That means when my mind is prasada, means quiet. When my mind is quiet, I'm able to discover mahima atmanaha, the glory of my atma. Mantra number 21. Let us see this mantra. Another, each mantra is becoming even more refined, even more refined. Asino duram rajati shayano yati sarvataha kastam madamadam devam mad anyo jatum arhati. Now I wanted to underline this word. Natum arhati. Who other than me can understand this? Yamadharmaraja says, let us go by word for mere meaning. Asinaha. That means while you are sitting, where are you? Duram rajati. You can be sitting in this class, but your mind can go somewhere else, no? and you have a feeling that I have gone there. Shayanaha. Shayanaha literally means lying down, but here it means when you are fast asleep. Yati sarvataha. When I am fast asleep, where am I? Tadeko Vashishta Shiva Kevalo. In, in deep sleep, you are one with Lord Shiva. You are Ishvara. And where is Ishvara? Ishvara is everywhere. See the beauty of this mantra. When you are fast asleep, where are you? Yati Sarvataha. Kaha, who other than me can understand this? Yama Dharmaraja says, other than me, who can understand this? All of us can understand this. If you are able to make your mind help you to discover that Devam, that consciousness, that Samanya Jnanam, which is beyond joy and sorrow. That's all. That is the meaning of this mantra. Now, can you say, yeah, I can understand? To understand this mantra, we have to go to what is called Samanya Jnanam and Vishesha Jnanam. We have spoken about this many times, and that is why one of the reasons I have been preparing in all these classes is speaking about Samanya Jnanam and Vishesha Jnanam in all our classes. Let this be a background knowledge. Whenever I'm aware of my computer in front, my telephone, the table, the wall. This is called Vishesha Jnanam. That means light falls on it, I'm able to see, my mind registers it, and I get a certain knowledge. Now, when I close my mind, when there are no thoughts, I'm still there. There is one objectless awareness. That objectless awareness, which is normally not appreciated during our waking state because of the domination. Like, for example, when you see a movie on a screen, the characters on the movie dominate the screen. You forget there is a blank screen behind that. Now, all our sadhana is pratibodha viditam matam. In and through every experience, can I be aware of that objectless awareness, which is I am Atma Brahman. So I'll just read this, let your mind understand. Asinam duram vrajate shayano yati sarvataha. Remember, he's saying, other than me, nobody else can understand. All of us can understand. Now, this is a subtle verse that has to be understood. Lord Yama is talking about two aspects of Atma. One is called Samanya Chaitanyam, which is there during sleep. This is our real nature. Although I don't experience anything and I don't know anything because my mind is full. When I wake up, I know one thing, I slept well. So that awareness that was there when I'm fast asleep, that is Samanya Chaitanya. When the mind is functional, there is a new consciousness that is born that is called Vishesha Chaitanyam, which overpowers the Samanya Chaitanya. So all our sadhana is what? Become aware of the Vishesha Chaitanyam in and through all the activities we do. Now, because of the movements of thoughts, we have a feeling that Atma is traveling. Suddenly, I think about Kedarnath. My mind can go to Kedarnath. But the Atma is the non-traveling Samanya Chaitanya. What should one do? Same thing I told you, Pratibodha Viditam Matam. Have a quiet mind. In and through all transactions, or whenever possible, get that gap to be able to discover the true me who's been able to watch that observer in and through all those activities. So there is a part of me, the reflected consciousness which travels, but the original consciousness is always there. And the pleasure and sadness happens to the mind. The real me is the observer of the pleasure and happiness. I am unaffected by any pleasure or happiness. Ignorant people identify with Vishesha Chaitanyam. Ajnani identifies with the Samanya Chaitanyam, and therefore he is not too much affected by happiness or sorrow. And that is our sadhana. Now, how does Shankaracharya interpret Lord Yama saying, other than me, who can understand? If nobody can understand, why is he teaching this? Evidently, those with a subtle mind are able to understand these difficult mantras. So what is this mantra saying? Asinaha. While I'm seated, Duram Vrajate. I travel far because my mind has the ability to far. Shayano, in deep sleep. I am really everywhere because I'm not limited to this body mind. Now, that real me is Mada Amadam Deva. It has free from joy and sorrow. Although Yamadharma Raja says, other than me, who can understand? All of us are able to understand this. We come to, I think, the last mantra for today. Ashariram sharireshu anavastyeshu avastitam mahatmanam vibhum atmanam matva dhiro na sochati. Dhiraha. Let's go to the word meaning. Ultimately, the last line is saying, can I be free from sorrow? Why am I attending all these classes? Can I discover something that helps me to see that I am the witness of happiness and sadness, but I am unaffected by anything? In this body, there is something of the embodied. In this temporary structure, there is something which is permanent. That permanent is Mahantam. It is all pervading. Matva. Matva is not an ordinary knowledge. It is what is called aparokshatva. I told you, Atma Jnanam is not Paroksha Jnanam. It is not Pratyaksha Jnanam. It is that claim and that understanding. Here the word Matva is aparokshatvam of that Atma is ashariram, the embodied within the body. It is avastitam, that which is permanent in the impermanent. In all our impermanent bodies, there is something that is permanent. And what is that? It is vibhum. It is all pervading. Dhiraha, the one with spiritual awakening or spiritual understanding through Guru and Shastra, you have that kind of a mind. Such a mind is free from all sorrow. This is the meaning of this mantra. If I have to repeat it in few other words, the intelligent person does not grieve at all. Why? Because he knows he is the Atma, which is all pervading and cannot be limited by this body. That is why Swamiji says those 5 capsules. I am of the nature of limitless, all pervading consciousness. Remember, I am the only source of permanent peace, security, and happiness. Because of me, this body is alive. And because of me, this world has come into existence. Anything that happens to the world or to this body cannot affect me because I am of a higher order of reality. As long as I'm able to understand this, that is moksha. If I forget this, I get into samsara. That is what this mantra says. This Atma is giving us Atma Jnana Phalam. It is helping us to go beyond sorrow, to be able to claim I am Atma Brahma. I am the infinite Atma, not limited by these 3 bodies. I am Asangoham. The real training is to disclaim this body and to discover this Asangatvam gives us moksha. So the word meaning is having known the Atma, which is bodiless, or the embodied within this body, which is the permanent one in the impermanent bodies, which is big, which is all pervading. The discriminating one does not grieve. He is free from all sorrows. Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Let us have a quiz now to see whether we have understood. Dr. Anupama will conduct the quiz on these 4 mantras, 19, 20, 21, and 22. Dr. Anupama, please.
Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. A quick recap of what we have just learned through questions and answers. So in this mantra, which we have very well understood now, Hanta chet manyate hantum, hataha chet manyate hatam, ubhau tau na vijanita, nayam hanti na hanyate. Next slide, please. The question is, which of them is right? Next slide, please.
Both are wrong.
Yeah. I wanted to complete the question. Anyway, you've answered. So just to describe the question better, I made this slide. Any action involves 2 people, the subject, the karta, who thinks hanta chet manyate hantum. The person who does the action thinks, I am the doer of this action. and the consequences sometimes remorse and a deep sense of guilt. The other person, the object of the action, the bhokta, says, Hatha chet manyate hatam. I have been afflicted, he thinks. He is feeling hurt. Now, it is the combination of guilt and hurt that causes samsara. Who is correct? Which of them is right?
So the mantra says, my real self is neither karta nor bhokta, so I should be free from hurt and guilt.
That's right. Ubauta na vijanitaha. So, just describing what you have said, both are deluded because they know ayam means this Atma, if they can identify with it. Na hanti na hanyate. It is only a jnani who knows that by disidentifying from the body mind complex and identifying with Akarta abhokta Atma, he neither suffers guilt of action nor hurt of others' action. Therefore, he can claim, I am not a samsari, but a mukta purusha. Whereas the Ajnani, next slide, please, who chooses this attractive prayer marga with a lot of possessions, obligations, relationships, and transactions, gets into more tapatraya. And what is this tapatraya? The samsara of his baggage of hurt and guilt, with which he gets stuck in this cycle of janana marana. Next slide, please. So in this next verse, which you have very well explained, Anor aniyan mahato mahiyan Atmasya janto nihitam guhayam tam akratuhu pashyati vita shoka dhatu prasadat mahimanam atmanaha. So, Yamadharmaraja says that Atma pervades everything big and small. It is Sarvagatam. Sarvagatam in what way? As the Adhishtanam, Sarva Anusyutam and Sarva Anugatam, immanent and transcendental in everything, comparable to Sutre Manigana Eva. So, flowers may perish, but the string remains. Where is this Atma?
It is everywhere, but if I have to recognize it, it should be recognized in the cave of my heart. That means the witness of my thoughts and the witness of the absence of my thoughts.
Yes. As you gave us that Kabir Doha, no? Uta, that you said, the fool of fools. So when we start searching for the Atma, we are not different from the cloth that searches for the thread that it's made of, or water that searches, a wave that searches for water. So a Jivatma in search of Paramatma is deluded because it is nothing but his essential nature. Just a little more on this. Next slide, please. So, what is the nature of this Atma? Atma as existence or isness is like the string which is in and through everything in creation. So, we call it Sat Rupam Atma. Like we have seen in Dakshina Murti Stotra, Yasya Eva Spuranam Sadatmakam Asatkalpartakam Bhasate. Next slide, please. So, what we need to do now is draw our attention to the isness of every object and be able to differentiate Brahma from Sarga, the creation, where Yasmin Kasmin Vastuni, in whatever and whichever object we encounter, start looking for the isness, the existence, which is the Sat. It is the Vastavam aspect, and give less importance to the other part of it, the Nama Rupa, the Mithya Mayikam object. Next slide. Okay. Please fill in the blanks with the words given in the block below. Atma Lakshanani, as described by Yamadharmaraja so far. The word Atma means?
Vipaschit.
That's right. Atma is the nature of, the word Atma means?
The word Atma means self.
And it is the nature of Atma as described in that verse is?
Chaitanya Swarupam as Vipaschit.
That's right. Atma is not subject to modification.
So Nirvikaraha.
Suffers no guilt or hurt.
Akarta, abhokta.
Yes, Atma is not just dash in all objects.
It is not just inherent in all objects.
But it is the very
self of all objects.
Huh?
Very self of all objects.
Substance.
Okay.
All right. So Atma is not just inherent in all objects, but it's the very substance of not only all objects, but all our thoughts. That's how we understand Pratibodha Viditam Matam Amritatvam Hi Vindate. Next slide, please. So in this quotation from the Kathopanishad, I think, Pratibodha Viditam Matam Amritatvam Hi Vindyate, we should understand this to mean Brahma Jnanam involves no new experience. Brahma Jnanam is a revised understanding of that factor which is always experienced by us within us. Or Brahma Jnanam is not displaced by thoughts. Desires distract the mind enough to lose sight of Brahma Jnanam, or all of the above. Which of these could mean Pratibodha Viditam Matam?
Nice question, because all of the above. So it is an important answer for that, all of the above.
That's right. Next one, please. So in this verse, Anor Aniyam Mahato Mahiyam, Yamadharmaraja says, never search for Atma because, and he uses a few phrases. Can you please match this sentence with the phrase used by Yamadharmaraja? Atma is always present as witness of thoughts in the mind, therefore don't search for it. What does he say?
Atmasya jantu nihitam guhaya.
Yes. A jnani sees the glory of Atma in his own glory.
Dhatu prasadat mahiman atmanaha.
Mahimanam Atmanaha. Only a person with Vairagyam perceives Atma.
Tam akratuhu pashyati vita shokaha.
Yes. And Atma is inherent in all things, small and big.
Ani anor aniyan mahato mahiyan.
That's right. Next one, please. Okay. So in this verse, which we have just heard, Asino Duram Vrajati, Shayano Yati Sarvataha, Kastam Mada Amadam Devam Mad Anya Jnatum Arhati. So Yamadharmaraja, as we have just learned, describes the two aspects of Atma. The Samanyam Chaitanyam, which we experience during sleep, which he said, Shayane. And this is all-pervading, unlocated, equivalent to the Jiva one of Drikdrishya Viveka. And the Vishesha Chaitanyam, the localized Chidhabhasa of Jagrat Avastha, equivalent to Jiva 2, which is Asine in the Jagrat Avastha. Asine means while sitting. Now, which of these is my real nature and how do I experience this Samanya Chaitanyam?
Samanya Chaitanyam is my real nature. You have answered it.
Mm-hmm.
How do I experience? It is there all the time. So therefore, I need to have a quiet mind. I need to have this knowledge that I am that which is the witness of my thoughts, which is the witness of my silence, which is in and through, as we said, Pratibodha Viditam, in and through every experience, the ultimate experiencer. So essentially, by quietening of my mind and through knowledge, I'm able to identify and to log on to it and be that.
And do we experience it even without being jnanis?
Of course. Do you experience it without being a jnani?
Samanya Chaitanyam, maybe all of us experience.
Sure. So, yeah. So I didn't get your question.
A jnani knows Samanya Chaitanyam by quietening his mind, by that Yasmin Kasmincha Vastuni, seeing the Vastavam aspect. But for all of us Ajnanis, we also experience Samanya Chaitanyam. How do we do that? Or when do we do that?
If you are able to identify that Samanya Chaitanyam and be established in it through knowledge, of course, and
as Ajnanis, like we do almost every day when we go to
sleep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So Samanya Chaitanyam is my true nature. Yamadharmaraja says it is difficult to recognize Atma, Durvignyayam, he says, because in Jagrat Avastha, the Vishesha Chaitanyam is so dominant that we identify it, we feel localized and limited. But it's only a sadhana chatushtaya sampanna, a jnani with a subtle mind who can identify Samanya Chaitanya despite the dominance of Vishesha Chaitanyam, although he is in Jagrat Avastha. Next slide, please. So, how do all of us experience this Samanya Chaitanyam? When we can turn off our mind either by manonasha of a jnani or when we just go to sleep. As we have seen in this verse, Shushuptau nirastat shunyatmakatvat, the ego goes. Tad eko avashishtaha shiva kevaloham. So we identify with Samanya Chaitanyam. When we can do that, we overcome all our limitations, because as Samanya Chaitanya, we are Nitya Nirvikara Akarta Abhokta Sarva Adhishtanam. Disidentifying with the mind, which is the reflecting medium, Vishesha Chaitanyam just disappears. Although Samanya Chaitanyam, which was always there, becomes more relevant and obvious to us. Now, does this Samanya Chaitanya coexist with Vishesha Chaitanyam in all the avasthas of our lives?
In waking and dream state, they
Okay.
coexist.
Yeah, they do coexist. So just as general sunlight exists over this patch of reflected sun, Samanya exists whether Vishesha is there or not. What are the differences between Samanya and Vishesha Chaitanya?
Samanya is unlocalized, it is always there. Vishesha Chaitanyam is localized and finite. So Samanya comes under Akarta, abhokta, asanga. Vishesha Chaitanyam is all things that is limited, while one is akhanda, one is limitless. So big differences.
Yeah, just like all the differences between Jiva 1, Jiva 2, between Bimba Chaitanya and Pratibimba Chaitanya. So Vishesha Chaitanya is Pratibimba Chaitanya, Samanya Chaitanya is Bimba Chaitanya. So the differences would be Parichinna. Vishesha is Parichinna or located, Savikara because it changes form, Aneka because there are as many Vishesha Chaitanya as there are people or living beings. It is Sopadika because it has got that relationship with the body-mind complex, which we called Sahaja. It is a Sahaja Samanda, a total relationship. And Gamana Agamana, it moves with the body. It is a Karta in association with body mind, and consequently a Bhokta and a Modha. Modha means it enjoys Visheshanand. What is that? What Ananda? Bimbananda. Vishayananda. And at the time of death, it is this Vishesha Chaitanya that drags the mind and leaves one body to move on to the next. As in Bhagavad Gita, we have heard Krishna say, Mama eva amsha jiva loke, jiva bhuta sanatanaha, manaha shashtani indriyani, prakristi sthani karshati. It drags. That's what the Vishesha Chaitanyam does. Samanya, on the other hand, is all-pervading, nirvikara, eka, nir-upadika, achala, akrita, akarta, abhokta, and amodha, means it has got Bimba Chaitanyam, which is a constant, consistent feature. And this Samanya Chaitanyam, we should remember, exists unchanged whether the body is alive or dead. So can you please name two similarities between Samanya and Vishesha Chaitanya?
Both are of the nature of consciousness. Both are there present in the body.
That's right. Dvasuparna is the clue. So, okay, in this picture, Samanya and Vishesha Chaitanyam can be compared to an electric bulb. Can you just give the comparison here? Electricity can be compared to?
Samanya Chaitanyam.
The bulb to?
Gross body.
The filament?
Subtle body.
And a fused bulb?
To death.
Dead body. That's right. Yeah, you have answered. So just a conclusion, death makes no difference to Samanya Chaitanyam. Samanya Chaitanyam exists even in the dead body. Vishesha Chaitanyam is absent in the dead body. Death is separation of Sukshma Sharira along with Vishesha Chaitanya from the Stula Sharira. The living body, therefore, we say, has two Chaitanya, the Samanya and Vishesha. The dead has only one samanya. Okay. In this verse, ashariram sharireshu anavaste avastitam mahantam vibhum mahantam vibhum atmanam matvadhira na shochati. So, in this verse, there seems to be some contradiction. A shariram means the Atma is not embodied, and sharireshu means the embodied. Can this infinite Atma be embodied in the finite body? Now, this statement becomes rational by adding one word. Can you please select this word?
Also.
That's right. You can say samanya.
Why not seemingly?
Why is it seemingly? It is definitely not seemingly. Seemingly means apparently. But it is definitely there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in this word matva dhiro na shochati, what is the meaning of the word matva?
Aparokshataya.
That's right. That's right. You have to know it, aparokshataya. That's right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hegde sir, for taking us through the chapter 1, Valli 2 verses with enriching and insightful guidance. Our heartfelt thanks to Dr. Anupama ma'am for the thought-provoking teaching quiz and also the impactful visuals. And a warm thank you to all of you, dear friends, for your participation. Let us meet again on Friday, the 29th August 2025 at 6:45 p.m. for the fourth session of Panchadashi. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. Thank you.